Hello, my name's Aaron. Today I'm going to show you an update I've done to my Real VNC server ARM 64-bit Fedora version. I have added a RPM binary for the first time. Previously, to get the official Real VNC server for REM 64-bit on Fedora, you have to compile it manually on my GitHub. And as you can see, I've had it there for some time now. It works well, and I've used it on all my Fedora Raspberry Pi boards, and it works quite well. But I've always wanted to try a RPM binary because I've done binaries for Arch installations and also Ubuntu installations. So it was about time I tried a binary installation for Fedora. And RPM binaries is definitely a eye-opening thing, comparing it to the package build type scenario and building on Arch. A lot more robust, a lot more finicky too. But this is the first binary, and I'll probably update this because I extracted the spec binary file from the x64 version, and some of the entries in there probably aren't really relevant to the ARM side of things in terms of dependencies and things like that. But I'll work on that as time goes on. But as for a first release, this is a good stepping stone. Now this is version 7.7.0. I know they've just released this morning 7.8.0, so I'm going to have to go through and do all that over the next few days to update this version. But just for this video, it'll be 7.7.0. Now, with RevNC Server, they offer an RPM on their Fedora side in the x64 architecture, which is cool. But if we go over to the Pi version, they only do a Debian version. So this is the first RPM version binary installation for Real VNC Server, which I'm proud to have done. So I've SSH'd into my Raspberry Pi box. So if we do a neo fetch, it's only kernel 6.2.9, so this is a default install. I've just downloaded the Fedora 38 ARM 64-bit image onto Raspberry Pi, so I've done no updates or anything. But this is just a proof of concept that it all works. This is a Raspberry Pi 4 Model B with 8 gigs of RAM, and this will work with any X-based Fedora desktop like GNOME, Mate, XFCE, but obviously running Xorg, not Wayland. So, first thing we need to do to install it is we have to remove Tiger VNC. Default installs of Fedora, at least with Fedora 38, come with that installed by default. So we need to remove that because that will conflict, and that is a official conflict which is listed in their spec file. So we're going to remove this first to get this out of the way. If you don't do this, when you install the binary, it'll come up saying it's a conflict and what do you want to do. So just preempting that. So let's remove this. Put your sudo password in, and it will remove that. And then next bit is to download the RPM. Now obviously I've SSH'd into my box, and if you're doing this live or on your Raspberry Pi, you just go into releases and physically download the binary from here, as you can see here. But we'll do it the old school way. We'll wget the file over since we're using SSH. So let's do that. And it's copied everything. Hang on. Right, it's now downloading. It's only just under 10 gigs in size. So now we install it. So we want to DNF install and the package. So let's copy that, paste that, and see how it goes. An RPM binary installation of Real VNC Server for Fedora. Yes. So now it's going through installing. I've had to change the spec file when building the RPM binary because, as with all issues with RealVNC on ARM64 boards, is the library files aren't in the correct place. RealVNC needs 3 specific lib files in user lib or various, whereas lib64 or user lib or user/lib, it varies on board to board, but if it doesn't have them, it won't work. So the spec file adds them in manually for you, so you don't have to go off and download the Raspberry Pi firmware from the Raspberry Pi server directly from their website. So this does it for you, and that's the biggest issue with. I suppose the one reason that RealVNC only offer it for Debian is because I'd have to have different installers for each particular Linux flavor, whether it be Linux, Ubuntu, Debian, Gentoo, etc. So they just obviously do Debian for ease of use, which is fine. But I mean, a lot of people use Fedora or RPM-based installations. I'm also building an open source RPM binary, which has been fun. It's very similar. It will be very similar to this one on Fedora, but again, some of the dependencies are different, and needs to be a bit of tweaking there. So it's going to take a bit of time for that to work. But I'll get there, and I'll do a video for open source when I've done that as well, which would be great because open source with RealVNC server works well. I've used it before as well, so that'll be added at some point, and I'll upload a video for that in the future. Right, we're done. So let's enable this service, this systemd service, and see if it's worked. So sudo systemctl enable. Let's enable the service first. So it's created the symlink. We'll start it. So it says it started. We'll do a status of it to see what is going on. So that's good. So it says it's there. It's operational. So now let's open up VNC Viewer. Okay, so let's put the password in. And this uses the Linux users. So whatever users you've set up when you're installing Fedora, it will use. And there is XFCE, which I downloaded the XFCE desktop. So I've installed RealVNC server ARM 64-bit using an RPM installer, a world first. If we open up a dialog, you can see there's no issues, and obviously this is the Raspberry Pi edition, so you do get direct access to it. However, it will only be TCP mode. You need an Enterprise Linux license if you want UDP mode. So yes, all working, all good. I hope you guys enjoy it. Again, having an RPM binary installation for RealVNC server on Fedora, I think is a step in the right direction, because a lot of people use Fedora over Debian or Arch, and makes things a lot easier, because a lot of people like to use the official RealVNC. The third-party VNCs that come with Xorg or Tiger or Turbo or whatever else, in my opinion, definitely aren't as good as RealVNC server for feature compatibility, especially when doing cross-platform RealVNC as well. So that's it. If we go over to terminal, go neo fetch. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to do an RPM binary installation for a while, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Download it. If any issues, let me know. I'll be doing an open source version. Sure, I'm working on that at the moment. Again, the problem with open source is the authentication not working from the get-go. it only allows root users for some reason, so I'm still trying to get around that. Which I have workarounds in place where it'll add the user to the root, but that's probably long term, that's not ideal. But anyway, enjoy. You can download it from my GitHub, github.com/Azure in the real server AA-Art64 Fedora section. All the info is in there, and in the releases there's v7.7.0. Again, they've just released 7.8.0, so I'll be doing that over the weekend and adding that as well. So there'll be another release just less than a week after this one. So there we go. Enjoy. Thanks, guys.